Hello everybody and welcome to the Train Sim TV video. This is Mark. Today we're taking a look at the Armstrong Powerhouse Class 37 Pack Vol.2. Something I've been really looking forward to, and I've already had a good play with this loco. Drove it on this scenario actually last night, just to get myself familiar with it, learn what's new and stuff like that, get some thoughts together. So I've had a quick run with this already, so know what to expect. I am really enjoying it. So let's get ready to hear it. Lowestoft, what we're doing here is we're recreating a run from the 8th of May 1984, the final week of booked loco haul trains from London to Lowestoft. Direct. This is 37050 and this is 2R09. This is the return working from Lowestoft back to Norwich, a stopping service. 2R09, the 759 from Lowestoft, calling at Alton Broad North, Somerleyton, Haddiscoe, Reedham, Cantley and Brundle. And it's about an hour and 10 minute scenario. We're just going to play you actually start on the line to Ipswich at Alton Broad and come in and do a shunt, and I've already done that. I didn't want the video to drag on for like 80 or 90 minutes, so we're going to get straight in here at Lowestoft. We're just waiting for the right way at the minute. We've got 9 coaches on the drawbar, so it should be quite a good bit of noise. I certainly enjoyed it last night. So AP Class 37 Pack Vol.2, what does it give you? Well, the Vol.1 pack was basically all the refurbished locos, so you got your 37 4s, your 37 5s, 37 7s essentially with that pack. This is the unrefurbished example, so what you're getting here is you're getting all 309 locos, the ones that, you know, even the refurbished ones before they became 37 4s, 5s or 6s or 7s, whatever. So you get all original locomotives included with this pack. Just going to pause the game a second before we depart. And you also get a wide variety of liveries and features and stuff like that, which I'm going to go into for those locomotives. So we're ready to leave Lowestoft here. We'll do a quiet departure from here, so a nice little start up, and then as we go through some of the other stations, I'll do different departures with the thrash and stuff like that, and I'll talk about it as we go through it. So this will just be a gentle departure here from Lowestoft. We're already in the number 2 end, so we're in the non-standard sort of end that you wouldn't normally start a scenario in, so you'll notice the horn's a bit different in here. And I'll play the horn in the other cab as well, probably at the next stop actually. I'll turn the volume up nicely. Now what I have forgotten to do is I changed the brakes to fact pass when I should be on air pass. Hopefully changing on the move hasn't just broken everything, but we'll see. So we've got the cab windows shut at the minute, and we've opened them, so we got some nice noise coming into the cab. I'm not sure if the volume balancing is quite the same as the Pack 1, to be honest, with the noise coming into the cab when you've got the windows open. I feel like that one was a bit more pronounced, but maybe that's just me not taking as much notice of it in Pack 1, but it sounds good all the same. Obviously we're in, like I said, we're in number 2 end, I believe it's number 2 end. With all the, you know, the gubbins and stuff. Normally when you start scenario you by default starting the other end of the loco, so there are a few differences. The idle sounds a bit different in this end, for instance, and all the little nuances that you get. So we've got the road now, so we'll power up. Obviously we're going to be in the back cab, which isn't ideal anyway. Now when we get to 26 miles an hour, we'll get our first taste of a field divert, so listen to that, it's fantastic. Fantastic. I just love that throaty noise. The amps change when basically it's the loco making the use of the power at higher speed sort of thing. And you get another one of those at 49 miles an hour, which sounds just as hellfire, if not even more, and we'll play that as well in a second when we get to that speed, before we get the brakes in for Alton Broad. So we're on our way now, Alton Broad, we're due there now-ish. So this is a pretty much, original Class 37, 37050 in BR Blue guys from the mid-80s. You've got various differences and like buffer cowling and stuff like that that change, but this is about as original as you can get. Obviously, the pack includes a lot of other 370s and stuff like that you see on the main line today, like Colas examples and stuff like that. 37099 for instance, it's very much represented, as are others like 37025 that are still running down the main line. Obviously you don't get the DRS versions because they've got the modified cabs and front ends, so you don't get that sort of thing included, but you do get, as I say, all of the basically ones that have remained standard. We're just going to pull quite far forward. I didn't intend to do that, so I will say that I didn't intend to basically go straight through, but it's happened now, and not much I can do about that. I've had to leave the actual passenger pickups in this scenario off, so we get the little stop icon instead, because for whatever reason I could not get the doors to open at all. They just wouldn't have any of it, so we've had to put those in. I'm not even sure if that's going to activate it, to be honest. We'll see if that's going to go off the screen, which it has, so we're alright now to depart. So what I'll do before we leave here, we're going to be a bit late running on this now, I'm not too fussed about that. I'll blow the horn in this cab as well. So this is the cab that you would normally be driving at, sort of from this end in a scenario. So I'll give a good blast on the horn again. Not a massive fan of that tone, to be honest, but I think that's just the fact that it's been recorded off 029. It's not from the recording, obviously, it's just how it obviously sounds. It just doesn't sound fantastic to me. I prefer the one in this cab. This cab sounds really good. Okay, so let's get on the move again. When we leave summer later, I'll do a full-on, quite hard departure, so you can hear the loco work quite hard. Worth bearing in mind that the overload feature has been actually modelled with this loco, which is really good. It makes it a bit more challenge, a challenge when you're setting off on a station, especially if you've got a heavy freight or something. As it says in the manual, it says finally, unique to the unrefurbished examples included in this pack, it is possible to overload the generator, and that's by applying too much power from a stand or at low speed. Now if that happens, you'll get a little light come up, I believe, and it causes the amps to die off. Basically it makes the power go off, it's protecting the loco, so you have to actually shut the power handle and then open up again, and it makes it a bit of an extra challenge. I found it quite fun yesterday, trying to give it as much thrust as you can but without overloading it. It's quite entertaining. It adds that little bit of an extra challenge. One thing I've noticed in here, and I'm sure on other AP locos, the AWS thing has had the correct dates on it. Now I'm not sure if that's 03 or 83, to be honest. I suspect it's 03, or maybe even with the line cut out to make it so it could be either, but very minor point is that looks like it says 03, in which case it's obviously not accurate for this scenario, but it doesn't matter to me really. It's just something I noticed whilst I was in the cab. Of course, with these unrefurbished locos as well, you got the maximum speed 90 miles an hour on the cab front there, rather than the 80 miles an hour of the refurbished ones. If you want to hear me go into more of the sort of balance plus and negative of this pack, I'm going to go into that at the end. I'm going to place all the liveries and variations as you can find them down. I mean, there's too many variations to place every single one. There's so many little things you can do with this pack, which are really cool. There is some stuff missing which I'll go into at the end that I would have liked to have personally seen, but so far I'm absolutely loving this pack. So we're storming along the Norfolk roads here, we're going towards Somerleyton. And I'll just play around with the throttle settings at the speed on this little section here, so you can have a listen. I love that little snort then as I pulled off the car, that was awesome. It really feels alive, and this is a completely new sound set. The refurbished pack obviously reused the Wherry line sound pack. This being the unrefurbished pack obviously has to use some different sounds, and it's a full set originally recorded from 37029 at the Epinonga Railway as far as I'm aware. It says in the manual that's where the credits go to, so it really feels like it's coming alive as you're powering up and down. And I think for me that was I wouldn't say a negative, I think it was the biggest thing for me about the Volume 1 pack was that you never, certainly myself, never felt all new, whereas this, with the new sounds, it feels fantastic. It really feels like it's coming alive as you're opening the power and shutting the power and stuff like that. Quite enjoying playing with that. So I'm just going to get some brakes in gradually here for Somerleyton, which we're going up to now. Again, it might be a bit tricky to get the actual passenger pickup to activate here, we'll see. Bogie sounds and stuff sounds the same, but then that's what I was expecting anyway. Texturing and stuff in the cab, spot on as usual. I'm quite a big fan of it. There's nothing I really have any issues with that. Now, one thing I did notice actually in the cabin and stuff like that is there seems to be no mention of steam heating anywhere, which by no means do I expect. I just found it a little bit funny that there wasn't any sort of simulation of that anywhere in the pack, considering that they did have steam heat in this era, the unrefurbished examples. So that is something that would have been nice to have seen, even if it was just a gimmick, but that was a minor point that I noticed. Seeing that we're struggling to get the passenger activation to work. Really is a bit of a pain, to be honest. It's because I think it's because we've got a couple of non-standard sort of coaches in the rig. We've got like a couple of brakes. We've got a buffer. I don't know if the buffer activates as normal or not, to be honest. I don't think it does. What it is it's I guess the platform must be either broken up or something. The platform is placed in train sim terms, and it's not actually letting me do the passenger pickups as normally you would. I'll try it again now. There we go. We got it to work this time. The buffer does do pickups. I'm not quite sure why it's been so finicky. I've not really noticed it on this route, to be honest, before. So from here, I'll give it more thrash. I'm going to try not to overload it, because I want to show the overload from in the cab if I can when I first do that. So We'll try and do a nice fresh departure from our till the volume nice and loud of the loco. There we go, we got the right way. So yeah, that's absolutely fantastic. So when I was powering up there, one of the the stops further on, we'll do it from inside the cab. I'm speeding, but it'll be right. One of the stops inside the cab further on, I'll go a bit more into what I was doing there. But basically, what I was doing is opening it up and letting the amps build. And before the amps get to a point about, I think it's 2,500, where it shuts the power off completely because you've overloaded the loco. You knock it back a bit and then bring it for, open it up again, and that's where you get the sort of thrashing sound. Now you can just go straight from 0 to 100% throttle from a stand, which I will do in a bit. But what you do is you just overload it really quickly. So it's quite a good challenge, especially if I was driving a heavy freight, I imagine, to actually sort of get the train on the move, especially if on a gradient or something. So that's a really enjoyable little feature that I found there with this pack. Probably the biggest thing that I found, new to it really. But the sounds when you're powering up, the sound really sort of dynamic, very enjoyable to play with, which is what I was looking for from this pack. So yeah, top notch really. I think I should have an RATB thing in this, shouldn't I? I don't know if the line tube switch was RETB in this either or not. I don't think it was actually, I think it was still semaphore. We're going to have a fly through the station if not careful. So you can see with the platform how short it is. Yeah, I couldn't get the doors to open here, oh, they were an absolute nightmare. So I've left the ones in the passenger stops that weren't as difficult. But even then we still struggled at some heightened, so bit of an iffy one, but one of those things really. So from here what I'll do is when we depart here I'll do a full overload from inside the cab, and what you can watch is you can watch this amp gauge down here, and when it goes into the red, basically that's when it'll overload and it'll shut the power off, and we won't be able to put any more power on until we shut the power off and get the amps completely out of the loco. Then you can reopen the power again. So I'll turn the sound up and we'll listen to this one from in the cab, and I'll overload it on purpose. You'll see a light coming, I believe, on here, and then you'll get the loco tripping out when we overload it. So I'll just open the power window fully to 100%. So there you go, shut the power, wait for the light to go out, then you can start again. And just let the amps build gradually and try and keep them out of that red zone. Then when you get to about 5 mile an hour you can open it up. So next stop for us is Reading. We'll go over the swim bridge obviously before then. We'll do a flyby shot now. yeah, top marks. I really have nothing negative in the sound. I think maybe they're a little bit turbo-y, but that's just a reflection on 029. You can't knock a pack down, in my opinion, for that. Really, I think as long as they're well represented, which I think they are. I think if I was being like uber critical, I'd say that it'd be awesome to have some sort of feature where you, like with the motor sounds and clag and stuff, if you could turn the amount of turbo whine that you get, but that is probably gone into the amount of difficulty that you probably just cannot simulate sort of thing. I don't know, I'm not an expert on that sort of thing, but that is something that I think would be really cool, because some locos obviously like more turbo than others. But and by turbo I mean that whine that you can hear now. We've got the high pitched whine sort of going on, but that's not really a negative point, that's just a point about 029. You can't really do anything about that. When I say 029 I mean the sound set that was recorded from 37029. So in a minute we've got to get the brakes in again to get down to this 20 limit at Vedum. And I'll turn the sound up then, we'll listen to some braking sounds, but obviously you can't really hear them very much, and we'll listen to some track joints as well at some point. But they are the same as you get in volume 1 anyway, so I'll say very similar. I think they're the same. It looks fantastic. It looked even more fantastic if I had the marker lights on the way. But yeah, I mean, I'm really enjoying seeing this. It just looks spot on. Very, very happy with it. Sound nice and weighty as the volume 1 did as well, so it's all good. One thing I do like about the weathered versions as well is the bogies are nicely weathered. I think before there was a lot of people sort of kept saying about the red springs and stuff on the weathered versions, standing out quite a bit, and I don't think they do on this now. I think that's quite good. I think that you could have a version that's more weathered on the body sides and stuff, but again, you've already got 3 versions, how many do you need? That is one thing that I did notice a little bit, that I felt that weathering 3 doesn't really, it's not heavy weathering, but again a majorly sort of like tiny remark. Not something I based the purchase on or anything like that, just in an ideal world sort of thing, which it never is an ideal world in simulation, unfortunately. This is about as close as you can get to an ideal world. So in terms of in the pack what you get with it, so you get quite a few different cab variants. You get, I think it's 6, or is it 8? 6, 7 or 8, it depends which way you count it, different cab variants. So you get the original cab, which is the early 60s to early 70s version, which is basically the green locos, and the cab's painted green inside and stuff like green and cream, like the original locos were. Whilst we're gliding into it, I'll just put the camera outside a bit. You get the blue cab, the 1970s liveries, which is similar to what I've got now, obviously. Then you get the blue cab with NRN radio, so that's EW and CWS and West Coast Railway Company liveries. Then you get a grey cab with NRN radio, that's early 1990s liveries. You get a light grey cab, but that's the one we're driving at the minute, that's BR Blue livery 3 and livery 4. And then you get a light grey cab with NRN radio, pre-GSMR modern liveries. And a light grey cab with GSMR. So there's all sorts of different little variations, micro variations in there, which is fantastic to see. I'm not sure if I should have an NRN radio. I did put an NRN code in, but maybe they didn't have it in 83, 84. I've no idea when NRN came in, to be honest. It's not one of those things I've really looked into. Once again, we've got the cool little feature in summer and autumn where you get the flies on the windscreens. That's quite a nifty little feature. You can wipe those off as well by putting the vipers on. Wipers. You can actually move the wipe. Wherever your stop is, where the stop. Still a bit tired, it's quite early in the morning. Talk absolute garbage as usual. So we're coming up to the 60 limit. It's a really short limit, but I'll give it just full thrash from the board when we're clearing it. So that you can hear what it sounds like from 0 to 100%. Flange squeal on that top notch as usual. Just coming into Readham now. As we leave here, I'll talk through the liveries and scenarios and stuff that are included with the pack. So we got to stop at Readham, stop at Cantley, Brundle, and then we're into Reading. Why the hell did I say Reading? Then we're into Norwich. Oh, in my case, Reading, which is about 100 miles further west, but we'll be fine. So this is another one where I've had to remove the passenger pickup command because it just wouldn't play ball for me. Maybe this time when I stop it will actually do it, but who knows. I decided to remove it just because it was getting quite difficult for people. And again, it's not done it. You can't open the doors again, so that was why I did that. Now from here, I'll go in the cab, and again, I'll do a thrashy departure, but try not to overload it this time. See how we get on doing that. I'll keep the volume nice and loud for it. I'll leave the hood on actually, but I'll move my camera down so you can sort of see let's turn the instrument lights on. So you can see all the dials and everything, and also see the hood whilst I'm doing this, and you see what I'm doing. So you can see that second movement that I did there, actually pulling it back to stop it overloading. And then you'll see, as we get to 26, you should see the amp needle move again at the divert. There you go. And you can actually hear the click as well as it goes up into that field divert. It's really, really good. Love it. And obviously if you shut the windows it gets a lot more turbo and stuff, and you can't hear the exhaust note, which I'll do now. So if you open the windows and the doors for that matter, so you can open the doors, you get a lot more of the thrash coming in, and I think that's probably why I thought it didn't sound quite as loud as the Vol.1 pack of I used to keep with doors open. But by having these unrefurbished locos, it just brings so much more potential, and it gives you a loco that's good for scenarios in even the steam area. Finally gets rid of that Kuju necessity for a 37, which we've been relying on for 12 years. Just wish we had that new 47, because that's something that's still getting relied on in some places is the Kuju one. Most people these days use or have been using the Virgin pack or even the Lost Marches loco. When it comes to 47s, but we really need a Kuju replacement. I know the Master Keys one was on the horizon in the past. I don't think it is anymore, but that'd be fantastic to see, especially done to this standard with AP involvement. That'd be, you know, epic. Again, I'm going to go through some of the things that I think are missing from the pack nearer the end, so when it's a bit quieter, don't like talking too much over or giving important details too much over the loco noise. As we're coming into here, a bit quieter, I can go through some of the other features of the pack. So in terms of scenarios, I'm looking for them in the actual list at the minute, whilst trying to break for a station. Always a good combination. So you get 6 scenarios included with the pack. You get 3 for the Wherry lines, which we're on now. They are 1990, 1994 based, and then you get 3 for the London to Brighton route. 2 freight scenarios and a passenger scenario on that one. And we're now going to stop in the middle of the platform. So you get a decent little variety of scenarios there. Note that if you downloaded the pack literally when it came out, there was an error in one of the scenarios I think that had to be fixed. So that was fixed though by late evening on release day, so you know, really good to see them getting straight on top of that. And these things happen. They've happened to me many times, so that's just one of them things really. So from here we'll do a nice fresher departure and we'll do it from the back cab window so you can sort of hear it build up from there. Got the doors to open, it can't because it's a nice long platform. So I'll get the sounds nice and loud again so we can hear it on departure. Of course, when you open cab doors and stuff as well, just while we're stood here, it actually opens in the model obviously as well, so that's quite an obvious feature, but a really cool one at the same time. Right. Fantastic. I'd love it. I'm really enjoying that aspect of sort of having to concentrate when you're powering up, because with a lot of loco packs, and to an extent Volume 1, because it doesn't have, obviously the refurbished locos, they've removed the need for you to actually shut the power. You could just leave it open if the loco slipped or whatever. With Volume 2, obviously with that feature there actually being, you know, simulated, it's making it a lot more challenging to depart, and as I've said earlier in the scenario, I'm looking forward to having a challenging go with that when you're on like a gradient or something. I think it'd be really impressive on a heavy freight. You can sort of open it fully from like 5 mile an hour to 6 mile an hour, but until that point you're fighting to keep the amps low. So if we're talking about liveries as well, we haven't talked about liveries yet. You get, I think it's 29 liveries included with the pack, which is an enormous amount. I'm actually going to show them manual if I can. Let's have a look. Whilst we're going along this section, we can. So if we go up the list here, bearing in mind I'm trying to drive a loco in the background. There we are. And I'll go through and I'll try to replace all these liveries as well. Just going to ease the power off a little bit. I'll place all these liveries at the end of the video. I can't place every feature, but we'll go for the manual whilst we're here. So you get BR green livery, where you get no yellow panel, which is on the left. That's the original spec. You get the half yellow panel, that's in the middle, and then the full yellow panel. And you also get a GSMR version, which is that one there, as seen on 37057 in recent years. Now the BR Blue, you get a lot of variation here, and this is not including all the little things you can do, like changing marker lights and stuff like that. So you get liveries out of the box, you get pre-tops number, BR Blue, and these numbers on the head code as well actually move around, and you can leave them half sort of set like that as well on the left hand side. You got the with head code box, you got domino marker lights as seen there, and the standard marker lights as seen on the right hand side. That's then you get this one, the BR Blue West Highland stripe, which is a stripe along the lower body side of the loco. And you can see that one's also got the Highland headlight that they fitted to the Scottish examples in the 80s. You get BR Blue white stripe at the top. I think that is Thornaby locos, if I remember rightly. You get BR large logo with and without the orange cant rail, and with the Westy dog as an added addition there. If you want to do that, that can be added with the numbering, or by just typing the actual loco's number in, it automatically appear as well for that matter. Then you get XBR large logo, so that's as seen on 37025. That livery was seen in the 1990s, I believe. You got BR large loco modern with GSMR, that's basically 37025 as it is now. I'm just going to shut the power off in game. BR rail freight red stripe, BR rail freight, BR train load, and obviously you can change the sectors, you can change depot plaques, you can do all sorts with that via the numbering strings. BR, this would be quite nice in VR actually, I haven't said VR, but BR departmental grey, and I am going to have to get ready to break in game at the minute. So that's the really bland sort of grey livery that a few locos, I think it was a few locos picked up. Civil engineers livery. Again, depot plaques and stuff are interchangeable. The police livery, now that's a really cool one. They actually put in the police siren. It was actually used in one of AP's trailer videos. But in the 80s, the British Transport Police ran a advert to try and dissuade trespassers and stuff like that, using a 37 as seen there. And the pack actually includes a little police siren you can put onto the top of the loco. And you can play the siren noise as well. I thought that was a fun little addition. I'm not usually one for doing stuff like that myself, but I know there's people out there that'll love that feature, so I'm all for it. Intercity Swallow, that's as they were seen working off Inverness when they did the Scottish Sleepers, and you can see on that one as well the unusual position of the headlight, so you can move that around. That's again done by number strings in the scenario editor. So you can mix and match all these number strings as well. You don't have to necessarily even recreate an exact loco. You can play around with your number strings to your heart's content. Got Transware Livery from the 90s. XBR Civil Engineers with Translail, basically the big T livery on the side. 37116, which was BR Blue with sister daughter nameplates as seen there, with Transrail on the side. Mainline Grey, Mainline livery, EWS and EW&S liveries. West Coast Railway Company livery, I think that was 37261 that carried that livery with the headco blind. It was a very short-lived thing. And then interestingly you get a Network Rail livery. Now you can't simulate unfortunately 97301 with its different headlight style. And that livery was actually carried by 37198 in terms of Unrefurbished locos, but it never actually ran with that livery. It'd be nice if that gets included with ERTMS or whatever, you know, in Pack 3 or whether that's ever doable, I don't know. But it's nice to see that 97302 or whatever can be recreated to some extent, so that's awesome. DRS1, Direct Rail Services 1, so that's without branding on the screenshot, but obviously when you install the branding pack you get the branding. 37087, well known by Railtour fans, as did so many Railtours in the early 2010s and stuff like that before it got scrapped, with Keith Linworth filing nameplates. Just pausing the game while I finish this list. DRS2, so that's the compass livery. Colas Rail is seen on 37099, and then we get to the driver's guide and stuff like that. So I'll come off the window capture of that, and I'll go back to the game, and I'll turn the volume up, and we'll do another nice departure here from Bundle. And I'll let it overload this time. So you can hear the sharp cut off there, that's the overload. A lot of fun to get on the move. It's just so much fun to actually play around with. Far more than I was expecting, to be honest. I was excited about it when I saw AP announce the feature, but I think I'm finding myself more excited by it now. I'm playing with it, and top marks. I love it. It's fantastic. Again, if you're skipping around in the video and you're wondering why I'm not going through barely any negatives, I'm going to go through them at the end of the video, and basically sum it up sort of way. There is a few minor things and a couple to me which are a little bit bigger, but that distract a little bit, but the overall experience is fantastic. And if you don't own Volume 1, this pack I'm trying to remember what it is. Let me go on the AP website. Is it $24.99? I don't want to get this wrong. You get a decent discount if you get Pack if you already own one of the packs. So if you don't own Pack 1, you can get this one for 25 quid. If you own Pack 1, you get the discount down to 17 quid, and I think that's excellent value. And I'd just like to say thanks to AP for providing that nice chunky discount. That's a good 7 quid, 8 quid sort of discount. So that's fantastic to see. I'm very happy with what I've got for that money there. All good on that front, in my opinion. I think a standard 25 quid is decent value anyway. If you don't own one of the packs, I assume that discount applies in the other direction. If you buy Volume 1, then get Volume 2 first, then get Volume 1. I assume the discount applies the other way around. But if you don't own Volume 1, then I would recommend you get that as well, because you get all the refurbished examples, apart from such as the DRS 37.6s and 37.9s. You get all the other stuff like 37.4s and that. So we're just coming up to Postwick or Postwick now. We've got to shut off the power here, get it down to 20 mile an hour. So what I'll do with this one is when we're pulling away from this slack that we're coming up to, I'll apply full power from a 20 mile an hour restriction so you can hear it from there. And I'll probably just leave it leaning out the front window of the coach most of the way into Norwich. So sit back and enjoy this little run into Norwich that we're going to do. No, I really enjoyed that. I'm going to go through now all the liveries and my negative points, and obviously I've gone through the plus points, but I'll go through them again and reiterate those. That's the end of that video, part of the video there. Just bear with me a second whilst I get everything set up, and we'll be a little pause in the video with it. Okay, so I've placed all the liveries that's there. There's a couple that are placed twice because I felt it was worth including them twice, just to show a couple of the variations that you get. But I mean, as you can see there, it's a fantastic lineup. There's no two ways about it. It's superb. The one thing I will say, my biggest takeaway, again, that's a bit of a negative, is that Z fighting. That existed in Volume 1, still exists in Volume 2. I think that was my main sort of negative from Pack 1. But anyway, this is BR. So we'll go along all the liveries and I'll talk about each one as we go along, and some of my pluses, some of my minuses. This is the BR Blue pre-Tops livery. So this is before Tops came in 1973, I think it was. 73, 74. When they were still using the 4-digit numbers, which they carried back to Steam days, obviously, when in those days they used to have a D prefix. I'm guessing you can probably put that on, certainly the green ones they'll be on, but I'm not sure you can put it on these ones. I'm not sure. I think when they went into blue, they all got rid of the D prefix, or most of them would have done. So you can see on this as well, it's got the extra buffer cowl, so it's got the nice skirts around there, and that's an example. Obviously, all these days on the main line, as far as I'm aware, have got rid of that, so that's nice to see. I look so much more elegant with that, but top notch with that. Obviously, I've not got anything showing in the Bedco boxes, but you can do that in game with I guess it's the usual buttons, which I think is F8, F9, something like that. This is the West Highland with blue stripe, so you got the blue stripe along the bottom. You've also got this cool little headlight that came with that was used on the West Highland locos over the years, and the Inverness ones as well. Now my biggest point about the numbering thing, which is worth going into at this stage, is the lack of depot things below the number, before the specification box. In the BR days particularly, they carried the depot code below the ID box. That would have been nice to see in the numbering string sort of thing. Like, like you can control the let's have a look at one that's got. So with a lot of these, you can control many things with the number string. Particularly stuff like, I'm trying to find a particular loco that's got one on it. Stuff like these arrows and stuff like that, you can control via the number string and take them off. Depot logos and stuff like that. Now, it would have been nice if on the BR Blue versions particularly, if we could have had that as a number string option. Whether we could get that, that'd be really nice, Mr. AP. If you could do that, that'd be fantastic, because that's one of the little things I feel that's lacking from the individuality of some of these 37Os. This is I think this is a Thornaby white stripe version. Basically exactly the same livery, just with the white stripe at the top instead of the bottom. I think I've placed the same one twice there. Not entirely sure, I think I have. Or maybe even I've placed it. Oh, sorry, you got the non-cantline version there. That's the domino version, in fact. So, by domino we mean... Oh, it's a mixed one. That's quite cool. So, dominoes, these boxes that have got the white spots in, obviously. This is the version of the white stripe up high with the cantline added in as well. It's carried there by 37095. This is a split box, again with the... with the head code boxes and the buffer cowling, but this is a tops version, so it's got the 37 number rather than the 4-digit number. And then this is the same again, but with the dominoes. This is a centre head code version with the dominoes box, and this is 37276. So I'm not sure if this would have been a Cardiff or a Lara loco, but by this point, note the cowling, whatever you want to call it, has gone around the buffers. And also note the various different locos, different styles of buffers, so you get the nice big round buffers on that one, contrasted nicely with these little oval ones here. And this is a BR Blue one with a cant rail at the top there. So the cant rail is basically, you can go into towards the late 80s with that sort of thing, early 90s. This is a Civil Engineers loco. This is 232. And while I was talking about a game with stuff controllable by the numbers, stuff like these lovely depot plaques, so you can identify them as been West Highland stuff, but like with these ones, it'd be nice if we could have the depot tag underneath there. That'd be quite cool. And that's all editable via number machine, so surely that could be done as well. I just imagine it obviously take a bit of time, but it'd be nice if it was one of those things that could be added in as a patch or an update. This is departmental grey. That's seen on to 37262. Noting there, is it me or is that a different shade of orange going on? Whether that's meant to be like that, I don't know, but that's what I can see on that. Maybe it's intentional. This is BR green as seen on 37057 modern day. So GSMR version. Note you got the little antenna up there. You got the new overhead catenary stickers. The disc box, the head code box, which is obviously changeable. You can see there it's actually got a number in it. Down here, this is essentially an original 37, so this is how they were delivered in Steam days in 1960. D6706, one of the first ones. So that's full green ends on that one. And these are all the ones I've placed here are a Weathering variant 1. So livery 1 are the Weathering variants. And this is a small yellow panel logo as seen on 37023 D6723. And another thing I've noticed that would have been nice to have seen it, well, I noticed on the blue one as well, is the builder's plates are missing. Obviously you can't put, I won't expect necessarily every single one to have its individual number done, but I think to have a generic one would be better than having none at all, is my opinion on that. And this is a centre head code variant, but this has got the full yellow front. Again, looks, fantastic. Superb. Here you go, you got the large logo variant with the West Highland Terrier. With, again, this is a basically mid-80s, late 80s 37-0 with the nice Scotty dog on the side there and the large numbering and the headlight on the front again with a nice snowplow set. Now this is BR large logo, and this brings me to another one of my points. This is as seen on 37260. It should have Highland around the cab sides, but I think I've forgotten to actually change the number string on that, so you can do that, it's just that I forgot to do it. Now my biggest negative from this, and on the screen at the minute I will put on a photo that's not by myself, it is by X-Tractor Fan on Flickr. So I'll capture a different window here, and it's that a lot of these Inverness-based locos, Scottish locos, carried really well-known names. I think it's a bit of a shame that we haven't got those. And that I think is my main negative from the pack. And I'm not saying that that's should have been done necessarily. I know that you have times where you have to cut off and stop doing the development. Now I'd love to see that done in a free update at some point. I don't think we'll get that. We'll have to the community to do it, which I don't know. I don't see it happening myself, but we'll see. But yeah, I'll put on the window so you can see what I'm talking about with this example, for instance. That's the van window. So there you can see the nameplate there of 37260 Radio Highland. And again, that shows you, well, what I was talking about earlier with the sort of more weathering version, more body side dirt and stuff. If you were placing weathered version 3, you wouldn't get the dirt right up here, so that would be nice. But I also noticed that this specification box, certainly on 260, was centered with the number. I'm not sure if that's always the case, but again, it's also that had the depot tag below the specification box as well. Data box, data panel, I found the right name for it. That is Rail Freight large logo, grey. Nice again. And this is Rail Freight large logo with the red sole bar stripe. As seen mostly at Thornaby and stuff like that in the early 90s, late 80s. This is train load livery, and that was in that specific one. That's Rail Freight distribution, as seen on 37298. And then when you start getting to nameplates and stuff, you get those on the, whilst I'm talking about nameplates, you get those on all the 1990s locos onwards. Now, I'm not sure if that's every single one that ever carried a name from 1990s onwards. I guess it's most of them, if not all. And let's be clear, that's quite a big set of locos as well. That's Transware Livery. That's seen on, oh god, I can't talk. As seen on 37219, the split box variants are 057099 in real life. You've also got 175 that carries that livery, and does 254 now carry that livery as well. They're in unrefurbished form. Trying to remember them all, so I'm doing this is not easy. So that's our first named variant. That's DRS. That's the original DRS livery, I believe it is. As seen on 37229, John T. Jarvis. And I love seeing the names and the nice 3D plates as well. Let's make that clear, because I know we've criticised in the past when they've been 2D. Good 3D plates on there. All around happy with that. Really good. Next up for us is Compass Livery, as carried there by 37194. Now, I've got a feeling 194 was named Kinmore TMD somewhere in his life, but I'm not honestly that sure. So maybe all the nameplates, not all nameplates are included, we'll see. Whether that is the case or not in the coming weeks. I've not really paid attention to whether it this is not. Obviously Ivan unnamed as well, so maybe that's what maybe it's just not picked it up. That is EWNS livery, that's 37114. Now this was one of my personal favourite 37s, and I love the fact that they've gone to trouble doing the little coat of arms and stuff, and the full nameplate there. Looks really good. That was one of the well-known ones in the early to mid-2000s with that livery. Then you got the split box version, that's EWS, so we got EWNS behind. This is the EWS variant, as seen by 37, as seen on 37042 there. Then you got XBR Blue Transware Livery, 37116 Sister Dora. Am I imagining things, or should some of these have the max speed 80 miles an hour on them? Am I completely missing the point? I can't remember how the numbering's done, to be honest. 116 of course carries colours these days, doesn't it? That's XBR Blue, as seen on 025 in the 90s when it lost the BR logo. Then you got Intercity Swallow, seen on 37251. That was worn by the Intercity base locos at Inverness, the ones that were at the sleeper. Then you got it as seen on 37254 more recently, for Colas. So you got the nameplate on that as well, driver Robin Prince. Nice nameplate with weathering on there as well. 37055 in mainline blue, Rail Celebrity. I think that was used in one of the scenarios for the pack? I've seen pictures of it somewhere. 37380, so that's mainline grey livery. Now one thing I noticed is that I said earlier you wouldn't be able to do 97301, but you can. If there's a Network Rail 2 livery, which includes that 97301, so that's doable. I don't know why I thought it wasn't, but it is. 97303, then the police one, which for whatever reason it's missing its siren on this shot here. I guess it may be on level that in the advert, I don't know. But that's can't remember which one it was that did that, to be honest. 37156, so this is a Transware Livery one. Again, note the nice depot plaque. Then you got the West Coast variant, is the last one I'm going to show, is the last one we've got to show. You got 197 there without the head code box as one, and then you got 261 when it actually had a working head code box whilst it was with West Coast. So yeah, fantastic. So I mean that's all the locos essentially in the pack there. If you own Volume 1, this for 17 quid, you cannot go wrong. I'm really impressed with it. As I said, there's a few minor niggle points that I have found there. None of them I think are major. I think added together they do make a little bit of a point, but as I said, as a developer myself, I know that the points you have to come to with every product you have to get to a point where you say, well, I can't do that. You know, you got to get it out, otherwise you're not going to make any money, or you're going to start spending more than you were budgeted for. If any of the things I've mentioned can follow in free packs, that'd be fantastic. In free updates. It's a shame to see the community have to do everything with those things that I've mentioned, like nameplates and stuff, but hopefully we'll get some bits come through the community. But overall, absolutely fantastic pack. I love it. Really, really, really happy with it. and I can't wait to try out a lot more. I'm itching to go drive it again now I'm finishing the video. If I was going to give it a score, I'd certainly give it a high 8, if not a 9 out of 10. It's that good. It's very enjoyable. Highly recommend it, guys. Thanks very much for watching. You can catch us on Twitch. Tom's usually live Saturdays at 8 PM. It's twitch.tv/trainsim_TV. And thanks very much for watching the video, guys. See you later.